This activity will require compressions at the elbow joint. We have receptors within our joints and muscles that helps us become more aware of our body's position. When our patients have a stroke, they lose that sense of awareness. So through these compression, it is one way to stimulate those receptors again. To position your loved one, you want to make sure that their elbow is about 7 degrees flexion and their wrist should be around 20 to 30 degrees, no more than that. You will apply pressure through the wrist as well as through the elbow. When you provide this counter pressure, you can hold it for about 8 to 10 seconds and perform 5 sets of these exercises. There's no limit on this exercise. The more you do it, the more stimulation you're providing to the joint and the more signals are being rerouted back in the brain. So the equipment that I'm using are a clean test tube and some leftover Coban. If you don't have these equipment at home or you weren't able to get some from the hospital, you can use just a regular small cup and some writing paper. After you have the equipment, what you do next is form just little balls. You can make about 8 to 10, as many as you like. So then you first want to see if they can perform gross grasp. That just means that they will grab all the items with their hands and place them into the container. If they're able to perform that, you will make it a little more challenging by just having them grab the items with 3 to 4 fingers. Make sure that they're able to place them in the container accurately. If they're able to do that, you can progress them to only using 2 fingers. This requires more precision, more fine motor skills, more coordination. If they are able to perform that or they become better at it, you then can practice in-hand manipulation. When you are working on coordination, you want to make sure that you are performing the task within a plane or distance which will make the patient successful yet challenging them. If the task is too difficult, our loved ones will become discouraged, but if the task is too easy, they will not progress. As you can see, my model here, she's not able to fully reach forward. So then what I had to do is meet her at her limitation. For the next activity, what you would do is create a ball out of your sock. You bundle up the sock and wrap it with Coban, creating a spear. To make the ball thicker, you can bundle up 2 socks, or you can also add more Coban. After you create your ball, you will perform bilateral movements, passing the ball side to side. To make it more challenging, you can throw it back and forth. Or also, what you can do to work on the affected side more is to throw it up and down. Another activity you can perform is reaching for cups on a table and transferring them to the other side. As you can see, my model cannot gauge how much movement is required to successfully grab the object. What I then did was support her at the elbow and forearm, which then allows me to passively move her upper extremity to the appropriate distance. Through repetitive practice, she may then be able to gauge the correct distance. For this activity, you want to make sure that they are not only tracking it with their eyes, but also have them turn their heads to the affected side. If they're not tracking the object, you want to verbally and visually cue them to. Another activity that you can perform to address vision neglect is by spreading different items onto the table and play I Spy. You can also have different clothing articles on the bed and have your loved one choose their matching outfit for the day. The purpose of these activities is to stimulate sensory receptors within the skin to help increase feeling within the affected side. For all these activities, you want your loved one to perform them on their own. This is very important because when they are self-stimulating, it will increase self-awareness, which is crucial for the recovery process. For the lotion activity, you can use any brand or lubrication of your preference. Make sure that you're providing superficial and deep massages. This will help stimulate the receptors within the skin, but also the deep joint receptors within the hands as well. To increase sensory discrimination, you can provide your loved one with different items and place them within a coin purse or bag and have them seek after items that you request. You can make it a game. You can grade them by seeing if they can take 1 out of 3 correctly or if they can do 3 out of 3 correctly. Lastly, you can introduce different textures through brushing. I am using a toothbrush, but you can use a comb, feather, soft end of a sponge. The more texture you introduce, the better it will be. For my model here, her affected side is the right, and I am having her extend her arm on a sturdy platform. I then have her weight shift towards the affected side while performing a functional task in order to stimulate the joint receptors within her right arm. You can apply this technique with your loved one during any task, such as while he or she is brushing their teeth at the bathroom counter, or they can help put away items within the cover. Here's another angle of the activity. As you can see, she is reaching towards the right side, which will increase weight upon the affected arm. What you want to do first is roll the sock into a tube. There's no exact circumference, but the thicker the roll is, the easier the grasp will be. You then will cover the roll with Coban. You do not need to tightly wrap the sock, and also the more Coban you add, the easier it will be to grasp. You can modify the thickness in the future if you made it too thin. One important thing is that you want to make sure to seal one end tightly. This will ensure that your toothbrush or comb will not slip through one end. If your loved one has difficulties with grasping, despite having a built-up handle, you can include an extra piece of Coban, about 8 inches in length, within the sock prior to rolling, to add an additional cuff to your handle.